Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Knife Chats with Tobias. I received this knife in the mail about a week or two ago, before Christmas, and I really did not have time to look at it or anything until really just now. I did show it briefly in a video, but, well, I showed the box, I think. I don't even think I broke it out of the box at that time. In any case, full disclosure, this knife was sent to me by the company, Stronk. The company's name is Stronk. They are a new company. They are just starting out. They contacted me via email. Now, normally I don't do this. Anyone who follows the channel knows I've talked about this at great length, that I usually do not do such things as do reviews of knives that are sent to me from a company. Normally, I just tell the company, no, I'm not interested, or I don't even answer the company. But usually what I do when the company does send that email to me is I check their email, and then I look for the company online. I don't go by the link that they provided. I go by the link I can find online, you know. So that's the way I find the company. And Stronk was a legitimate company. It did show up. And in the email, they said they've watched my channel, and they have knives that are similar to what I carry. That's almost, or that I usually review on the channel. You know what I mean? And most of the time, I look at those videos, and the knife that they have are nothing like the knives I have reviewed on the channel. Most of them are some kind of modern folder that I've never seen before. And some of them are really high-end knives. Some of them are basically low-end knives. But they're almost always some kind of modern folder that somebody wants me to sell for them. And so I ignore the company. The difference with this one is they currently only have a couple knives that they're selling. But the knives that they're selling are very much knives that I have shown on the channel, and they're not knives you normally see anywhere else. This particular one, the Principal, you see it's a 4-inch Skinner knife. This is a type of Ulu Skinner. The other knife that I was able to see that they are currently trying to sell is a mushroom knife. I would have been happy with either of those knives to, you know, take a look at. I asked them a little bit about it, about the company. I did not ask where the knives were made. I figured I would show up. That would show when I opened the box and everything. And you can see here, this one is called the Principal, a 4-inch Skinner, black resin handle, and then carbon steel blade. Online, they say that it is a spring steel blade. They also have some that are in Damascus. We can see right here it says that it's made in made in Pakistan, and this is the name of the company. The packaging is not what you would call designed for, you know, the collector. And I don't think they're trying to make knives for the collector, which is kind of good. In any case, let's get the knife out. We'll get the sheath out and the knife. You can see that I have done nothing with it yet. This is the packaging on the inside, foam cut out, and another piece of foam underneath, and then just the box. And then you have the knife in the plastic bag, and then the leather sheath. And I will talk about all of this in just a second. But before I unwrap it, I want to show you that I do have other knives that are very similar to it, because this is basically a knife that was designed by Jim Frost, and Jim Frost called it the Snook. Later on, Todd Boone would often refer to these as a cat skinner or a palm skinner. I've also heard them referred to as an Ulu Skinner. But as you can see, I obviously do collect these knives, because there's that one there. And then another one from a company called the Bone Edge that is in Damascus. They also make one in Damascus. You can see the cutting on the top there. This is also one made in Pakistan. This one from the Bone Collector, handmade BC 793. Also made in Pakistan, even though it does say Bone Collector USA. And then one that isn't made in Pakistan, but a lot of people will probably know where it is made. This one is made in the USA. You notice it is still basically the same knife. This is the Wolf Pup XL by Tops. So as you can see, these are knives that I like. I like the pattern. I like to use them. I think they're a good knife for fishing and so on and so forth. Another one I got, this one is a little bit different. This is actually the very first one that I ever picked up. This is by Rough Rider, and Rough Rider called it the Ulu Skinner. This is the RR776 with an olive wood handle. This one was made in China. These Pakistan, USA, and then Pakistan again. And another one I have, which is a little smaller, was made by also SMKW or Smoky Mountain Knife Works. And that one was in the Fox and Hound line. And you can see this is a wee little one, but I really like this one too. I like them because they're really good for cutting up frozen meats and stuff. And they're also good for, you know, slicing and dicing. So I really do like the knives, and I do occasionally use them in the kitchen as well as when I'm fishing. So when I saw that that was the knife that they were making, it's like, yeah, I'm willing to take a shot at that and see what it's like. And so let's get it out of the packaging now. I did want to show you that I do have other knives similar to this, really boldly stamped Stronk. I'm gonna pause for a second and then open this up. Okay, we are back, and I will tell you now that the knife comes lightly oiled, which would make sense considering it is a carbon steel. Now, they don't say what type of carbon steel it is on the box, and I don't see it listed anywhere else either. I don't see it. The only place I'm noticing them being sold is actually at Amazon right now. They don't even have the price listed at the Stronk website right now. That would be a nice thing for them to do. At Amazon, I think this goes for around $40, which sounds a little high for a knife out of Pakistan. But I tell you, this doesn't seem like your typical knife out of Pakistan either. And I also have to mention something else. A lot of knives out of Pakistan, a lot of the old Colt knives that were made under license by SMKW, a lot of their fixed blade knives were out of Pakistan. So, and people were paying really good money for those, and now they even pay more for them. Any of the Damascus knives that were made for Colt, or even some of the most of the Damascus knives, fixed blade Damascus knives for for Rough Rider, were also out of Pakistan, and they went for prices similar to what you see these going for. So part of it is the quality of the company, I guess. I tell you though, this is look at the difference in the mirror polish there. This is the Rough Rider. Yeah, look at that. This is the other one. This is what is this one? This is the Bone Collector. See the difference in mirror polish there? This is kind of a satiny finish, and well, that's Damascus. This has the black coating on it. So I tell you, the mirror polish is going to make that slice through things a little bit easier. You can see my fingerprint smudges right on there. That's probably still because of the oil. You can see the saber grind there. It's kind of interesting the way it goes. It does thin here, and that might be a bit of a problem because as you're getting to the back here, you've got a thicker blade in the back here. So this back portion, you can see it's not sharp right up to about here. And then you can actually start getting a sharp edge on there. So but the point is nice and pointy and also nice and sharp. I would say the knife comes with a working edge. It could definitely be sharper, something you'll have to work on yourself, I think. A finger hole, that is for better holding the knife if one's, you know, so that it won't slip under wet, slippery conditions like blood and guts and all that other crap. Also, it does help with just lightening the blade a little bit, but you can actually get in there and do some slicing. A lot of people do not like the finger hole, but you can get around that. You can definitely get your finger up on the front here. The handle is, they just said it's resin. Let's see here. Not perfectly matched, but I've seen a lot worse on other knives too. This side, I would say also not perfect, but not too bad either. You might want to, you could probably file it down a little bit, but where it comes in handy is right here with the pins. The pins are pretty flush. Now, we can assume that they might have sent me the best one out of the lot. I don't know. That's what, who's that guy? Some guy who always gets knives from Spider-Go is always saying that, you know. They probably sent me the best one. Quite often, though, what you end up getting is whatever's in the box, and it is sent from a different place. You know, the people sending it are not the ones boxing it up sometimes. So, could be wrong. I don't know. That's for you to decide if this was cherry-picked or not. I like the, it's not over-aggressive, the jimping up here, but it does, you know, you can definitely feel when you're up on there. I don't think you really need it, though, with the little bit of a thumb ramp you got there. So, but it definitely lets you know you're there, and if you're using this wearing gloves, that would definitely help with getting a good grip on the knife blade there. I'm really impressed with how polished it is. Definitely a heavy handle in the back. The balance point is probably, let's see, where is the balance point? Balance point is right there, right where that pin is. So the pin point is where the balance is. So you would be, I guess you could say you're a little blade heavy if it wasn't for this big roll on the back here of the pommel. And this is, all right, this is the other one. Oh my gosh, it is a bigger knife. It's bigger than the other knives, so yeah, definitely. Look at how thick that one is. But that's, this is truly the Pakistani Damascus with the fake file work going on in it and everything else. I much prefer this one without the fake file work. This is all, well, actually this is cut by hand, but you can see how uneven it is. And then these are just some cuts across the top. Looks okay, but this looks much better, and it's got a really nice swedge going around the top here. This is not sharp. This is just a swedge. You would not be able to sharpen it either. I doubt seriously you could put an edge on that. And like I said, this could be a little sharper. Now, Stronk on their website says they have one in spring steel. I'm guessing this is the one that is in spring steel. I don't know what they mean by that. A lot of people, when you hear spring steel, think 5160, but car springs are made out of all sorts of other steels too. So, you know, it's really hard to say what steel it is because they didn't say what it was. And they also did not give what the HRC is on this. So we don't know how well it's been hardened or anything like that. So those are some big questions that people will probably have on this, and I do not have the answer. That would be the questions you'd have to ask of Stronk. What I can tell you is it is a hefty knife. It feels pretty heavy in the hand, but not uncomfortably heavy. You've got that swell on the back, so you can definitely index it into your palm. You can get your thumb there. You can get your index finger there. You can, man, I tell you what, when you choke up on the blade, that will actually help with the balance of that blade, so you can do some scraping and stuff. So that feels actually pretty well balanced just sitting in your hand like so. So that's nice too. It feels good in the hand, and that's one of the reasons I like these knives, is they feel good in the hand when you're using it for chopping up bait and stuff like that. And also if you're like scraping anything, or if you're slicing, cutting apart a chicken or something like that, it's actually a comfortable knife to use in the kitchen. The sheath here, the sheath is really a weak point on the knife. I'm thinking I'm not crazy about the sheath. The knife fits it pretty well. I do like the way they have the cutout there, so you can index that into there quite well. But it is your cheap Pakistani leather, the stuff that I call the cardboard cow. This is like, I feel like it is a pressed leather. Leather bits that have been pressed together. I don't feel that it is a genuine leather sheath, even though all parts of it are leather. I would have much preferred a better quality sheath made out of nylon. Even though it's lighter, I think this sheath will last longer than this sheath. So if I were to give Stronk any kind of advice, I would say swap out these sheaths and go with a nylon sheath with a plastic insert. I think they'll look better and work better. And also the nylon sheaths are something that dry out easier. You can also then afford a little bit more money, so you can rivet it in place and stuff. The sheath is definitely not something I'm crazy about. I would definitely advise them switching over to a nylon sheath, or getting a better quality leather sheath. One that I really like is this one here, the one that kind of loops around, but I hate them when they're like this. And this is what they've done also. I hate these kind of straps on the back. I think it's cheap. I don't like it, and it really kind of takes away from the knife. If you have a loop sheath like this, it looks better for the knife. And well, this one probably won't fit because it's larger, but you can see, I don't know, just a little bit better. But I would go with, I would just go all out and just go with nylon, and put a plastic insert in there, and you'd probably be better off. Either that, or just, there you go. That's what you could also do. Go with a Kydex sheath. That would be nice. See, I think that would look really good with it. A Kydex sheath would be a better option all around. That's a more modern sheath. Something that most people wouldn't expect on this kind of knife, but still, Kydex or nylon, I would rather see that than the cheap leather sheath. This really cheapens the knife, I think. I do like the fact that they decided to leave off the serrated portion here, which you see on a lot of these knives. Notice the serrated portion. This is for cutting through bone and stuff. It's interesting to have, but it means you have less useful blade for just your regular slicing and dicing, and this one gives more blade for slicing and dicing, and more blade for rocking with cuts. So this is really good for cutting vegetables and stuff like that. Anyway, what I'm also going to do with this, like I've done with a couple other knives recently, I'm going to send this off to a couple other channels, and I'm going to ask them their opinions of it, and we'll see where it goes from there. I'm also going to do a little bit of other things with this, do some cutting and such, and get back to you on that as well. But I thought what I would do at this point is just give you my first impressions of the knife. And what I can say is it's hefty. It's got a nice thick spine, thick all the way down there until you get to the saber grind there. It has a usable edge right out of the box. I would not say it's the sharpest knife in the world, but it has a working edge. And if you're into these kind of knives and you like using them, this might be something you'd be interested in. It is a little bit bigger, a little bit heftier, definitely a little heavier. I don't know how well the resin is going to hold up. Has a few marks on it, but they can buff out. Yeah, nicely pinned as well. All in all, I'm pretty happy with it. But like I said, I am going to send it to a couple other channels, get their impressions of it, ask them to put it through some paces, you know, use it to cut some stuff up, and see where it goes from there. Also, as I mentioned, the sheath is probably what I would consider the downfall on it. In any case, for the folks at Stronk, thank you for the opportunity to let me look at this knife and give you an honest opinion of it. As I mentioned, leather sheath, not crazy about. The knife itself, I'm pretty impressed with it. I would love to know a little bit more information on it, especially the type of steel and what the HRC is on it. That would be information that a lot of people on my channel are going to be asking. You know, what kind of steel is it? Carbon steel is not enough. These days, we've moved beyond just saying, well, it's carbon steel or it's stainless steel. People will want to know what grade of carbon steel it is, and they're going to want to know what the HRC is. I know there's a lot of other factors that go into making a quality knife steel, but those two things are kind of important these days. And also, it would be nice to know if this resin is like a phenolic or what kind of resin it is. That would help quite a bit as well. But it is nicely pinned, and I do like it. I just would love, it's leaving me with lots of questions that bother me. So, in any case, like I said, I'm going to pass this on to a few other people. Sorry for the bit of a ramble here, folks, but it is, you know, one of those knives that I like, but I need to know more about. And I got a feeling that's what a lot of people out there are going to be saying. I like it, but I need to know more about it. Let me take just a second to thank you once again for dropping by and spending a few minutes here at Knife Chats with Tobias. I really do appreciate it, and I do appreciate any comments that you leave. So please remember to give me that thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode is up and running. Thanks again for dropping by. Really do appreciate your time here.